Lesson 22. Solve word problems involving conversions. In this lesson, we will know when to use multiplying, when to use dividing, and continue practicing completing tables. If this is a little confusing, make sure you go look at lesson 21 first. Our first problem, our units of capacity are given to us in a little box. They've told us 1 quart equals 4 cups. Let's see how we're going to use that to solve a problem. Miss Monet, the art teacher at Giverny School, has 3 quarts of liquid glue and 24 empty glue bottles that each hold 1 cup. Does she have enough glue to fill all the bottles? Explain. So as with any word problem, I always do cubes. That just helps me focus on what's going on in the problem. So C is for circle our numbers. Miss Monet has 3 quarts of liquid glue and 24 empty bottles that each hold 1 cup. So it's really like they're saying 24 cups. So she has 3 quarts and 24 cups to put in, for those quarts to be put into. Let's make that look like a 4. 24 cups. Okay. Does she have enough glue to fill all the bottles? That's a good question. So I could even just imagine our own art class. The teacher needs to make sure that all the glue bottles have enough glue for the whole class. So I've circled my numbers, I've underlined my question. Now I need to understand the math action words. When we're doing conversions, we're going to focus on those conversion words, so the units here, quarts and cups. And we're going to set up a table. Eventually, you won't need to set up a table. You may just be able to do this in your head. So let's do this. We're going to start with our, let's see, should we put our 1 on top? We know that from our conversions up here, we know that 1 quart equals 4 cups. So let's start with that. We know that 1 quart equals 4 cups. Okay, Miss Monet has 3 quarts. So let's just keep adding until we get to 3. 2 quarts would have 4 plus 4 more, which would be 8. So 3 quarts would have 4 more. That's what the pattern is doing. We're just adding 4 more cups each time, because every time 4 cups is added, we get another quart. So 8 plus 4 is 12. Now, if Miss Monet has 3 quarts of glue, does she have enough glue to fill up 24 empty bottles? What number did we stop at? 12. She doesn't have enough. She only has enough glue for 12 bottles, for 12 empty glue bottles. So let's figure out, did we multiply or divide for this problem? We knew that she had 3 quarts, and we multiplied by what number? How does 3 become 12? How did that happen? Or how does 2 become 8? Or 1 become 4? We multiplied by 4 to figure out how many cups she had. So whenever we're going from the bigger quantity or capacity to the smaller, so a quart is larger than a cup, we're going to multiply. I had a student a few years ago who figured out a really cool way to remember this. She said, big to small, multiply it all. So if you know that you're going from a big unit to a small unit, you're going to need multiplication, because that big thing is going to be split up into many, many, many more pieces. So 3 quarts got split up into 12 cups. So it was actually multiplied. Okay, so let's see how to use her her little device when we're creating our tables. Our next problem says Audrey's dog is 40 inches tall. How tall is her dog in feet and inches? Let's make that legacy. Here we go. This is a very short word problem. So her dog is 40 inches tall. How tall is her dog in feet and inches? Okay, and I hear feet and inches in our problem here. And they gave us they gave us a conversion rate right there in the problem, which is really convenient. Sometimes they don't give it to you and you have to look it up on a piece of paper, or you just remember it. Let's see. This time we know the small thing. An inch is pretty small. An inch is like, think about the top part of your thumb. Or if you're really small, your whole thumb. And we want to know what that is going to be if we are going to be something bigger, like feet. So this time, instead of going big to small, we're going small to big. I wonder what operation that's going to be. I'm going to put these up here and see if we figure it out. Let's set up our chart. We only have 2 units to work with this time, so we won't need a really big chart. I'm going to put feet on top and inches on the bottom. Our conversion rate says 1 foot equals 12 inches. That was simple enough. What about 2 feet? What's the pattern going to be? We're going to add 12 each time. And remember, our problem is asking us for 40, so we're going to need to add 12 until we get close to 40. 12 plus 12 is 24. Or I can say 2 times 12 is 24. Okay. Well, what's 12 more? What's 24 plus 12? That's 36. Well, if I know my inches and I want to know the feet, am I going to multiply to get the feet or divide? 36 inches into groups of 12 will give me how many feet I have. That's a division problem. Small to big. Division's what I did. So I'm going to do 36 divided by 12, and I get 3 feet. And we're getting really close to 40. Let's see if we get to where we need to be. What's 12 more than 36? Well, 6 plus 2 would be 8, and that's 48. 48, that's too big. What's 48 divided by 12? If you see the pattern, you'll notice it's just adding 1 more each time. So 48 divided by 12 would be 4. Audrey's dog is only 40 inches tall, so that's too big. So how can we figure out how to get to 40? We know that the dog is at least 3 feet tall. Maybe we should use our halves again. I wonder what half a foot would be. Well, if 1 foot is 12 inches, what's half a foot? Well, what's half of 12? What is 12 divided by 2? 6. Okay. Did that work? Do we get to 40 if we do half? Maybe we should try something else. Let's see. If we have 36 plus 6, what do we get? 42. We're getting really close to our 40. Well, let's figure out what's 1/2 of a half. Really, what's 1/4? Is that gonna work? Let's see. What would be 1/2 of 6? It would be 3. 36 plus 3 is 39. So that's still not working. Maybe we should use that student's device to help us out. We kind of figured out that if we're going from something small, like inches, to something big, like feet, we can use division. Let's use that instead. What is 40 divided by 12? How many 12s fit inside 40? Well, let's look on our chart. It should look pretty familiar to you. There are 3 groups of 12 and 40. And that's going to be 36. And there's 4 left over. I can't take another group of 12 out, so my answer will be 3 feet, with the remainder of 4 inches, because those inches couldn't go into a foot at all. They're too small. So sometimes the chart or using a table can get really, really frustrating, as you saw with all of this math that we were doing. And if you're finding yourself getting more and more frustrated, you could use division or multiplication to help you find your conversion. The table is very good at helping you figure out if you're going in the right direction, because we know, based on our table, that this dog is somewhere in between 3 feet and 4 feet. It's not going to be 400 feet or 1 foot. So the table helps you figure out if you're in the right place. So let's reiterate. Let's go over what we've just seen. Small to big was division, and big to small, you multiply it all. So you can use multiplication if you're going from a big unit to a small unit. And you can use division for a small unit going to a big unit. As you get more comfortable with your units and knowing what they all mean, you'll like to use that rhyme to help you. Toby's house is 25 feet high. How high is Toby's house in yards and feet? This problem doesn't give you a conversion rate at all, so we're going to have to look it up. We need to figure out how many feet will be in yards. If you take a look at your conversion reference sheet, you'll know that 3 feet are in every yard. And now we're ready to get started. So his house is 25 feet. Hey. Come on. 25 feet. And we want to know how much that is in yards and feet. Let's figure that out. We know 25 feet. We want to know how many yards that is. Well, what's smaller and what's bigger? A foot is smaller than a yard, because it takes 3 of them to make 1 yard. So they must be pretty small compared to a yard, if 3 of them can fit inside of it. Well, let's think about the rhyme. Small to big. Division's what I did. I can use division to help me solve this problem. I'm going to complete cubes. And I'm actually going to still set up my table just in case, so I know where I'm going in the right direction. I'm going to put my yards on top and my feet on the bottom. 1 yard is 3 feet. 2 yards is 6 feet. 3 yards, 9 feet. 4 yards, 12 feet. 5 times 3, 15 feet. 6 times 3, 18 feet. 7 times 3, 21 feet. We're getting really close to our number. 8 times 3, 24 feet. That's really close to 25. Let's see if we can get one more in there. 9 times 3 is 27. That's too big. That's way too big. So we know that our answer is somewhere near 8. So if I have 25, and I'm going to use my division. 25 divided by 3. How many groups of 3 are in 25? Well, thanks to my chart, I already know. There are 8 groups. And there's 1 foot left over. So our answer is 8 yards and 1 foot. And it's really important that when you have the remainder, that you put the correct unit next to it. Whatever's left over was feet. 8 yards and 1 foot. His house is 8 yards and 1 foot tall. So let's remember, small to big, division's what I did, and division helped us get to the right answer. But big to small, like we saw in our first problem, multiply it all. And multiplication will help you get to the correct answer. And when you find that your table is either it's not helping you get to where you need to be, just realize that the table is not perfect, and you can use multiplication or division to figure it out. In this lesson, we talked about how to solve word problems involving conversions. We talked about when to use multiplication, when to divide, and we continued to practice how to make a table. Thanks for watching.